Did you know that in this modern age where AI is booming, there's one car company that still trusts humans more than robots and has only 4 robots in their factory? That's none other than Rolls-Royce. In today's video, let's take a look at the humans behind this luxury brand. Our story starts with young Frederick Henry Royce. He was born in 1863 in Alwalton in England. Henry was the youngest of 5 children. His parents, James and Mary, operated a flour mill. James had adopted his father's footsteps. However, he lacked business skills. Profits were poor, and for a long time, the Royce family endured poverty. As a result, in 1867, they were forced to declare bankruptcy. In an effort to have a better life for their family, they relocated to London. Henry got his first job as a bird scarer on a local farm. Then in 1872, Henry's father passed away. Now all the children had to chip in to make ends meet. He then began delivering telegrams and selling newspapers. Henry's experience with poverty at such an early age had a significant effect on him. And by the time he turned 15 years old, he had finished only 1 year of school. He started an internship with the Great Northern Railway Works. His aunt had presented him with some financial support despite not having a proper education. He studied French, electrical engineering, and algebra, and during his spare time, engineering. But after 3 years, he had to stop because of a lack of funds. Henry temporarily worked for a tool manufacturing firm in Leeds and then for the Electric Light and Power Company in London. In 1882, he relocated once again, this time to Liverpool, where he resumed working for the Electric Light and Power Company. His real dream was to make engineering his full job. So at 22 years old, he started a company with his friend Ernest Claremont. They named it F.H. Royce and Company, and for the next few years, they worked non-stop to make electrical components such as dynamos and doorbells. The company kept growing, and by 1894, they were also making electrical cranes. But Henry's passion started taking him to the world of motor cars. Although Henry Royce is crucial to the history of the Rolls-Royce brand, there's another person we owe to keep in mind, and that guy is Charles Stewart Rolls. Charles was born in 1877 in London's affluent Berkeley Square. He was the youngest child of Lord and Lady Thlangentalk. He grew a passion for engineering and went on to learn mechanical engineering at Trinity College in Cambridge. Charles knew how to stand out from the crowd and gained a reputation for tinkering with motors. Because of this, he earned himself the nickname Dirty Rolls. During his studies, he was the first undergraduate to possess a motor vehicle after traveling to Paris to buy a Peugeot at 18 years old. Charles began his employment on a steam yacht and then at the London and Northwestern Railway. He was more enthusiastic about driving as well as salesmanship. And with his father's financial support, he opened the first automobile dealership in Britain in 1903. He called the business C.S. Rolls & Co. Over the next years, he devoted himself to importing and selling Minerva and Peugeot vehicles. C.S. Rolls & Co. was booming, and Charles used the money to support his sporting activities. Besides being an avid motorist pioneer and racer, he was also known to be an eager aviator. Both of his hobbies are anything but affordable. Unfortunately for Charles, however, his lifelong passion would someday cost him more than just his finances. When Henry was managing his business, F.H. Henry Royce & Co., he became more and more interested in automobiles. So in 1901, he decided to improve a second-hand 2-cylinder Deauville car that he had purchased. But he wanted more, so he thought about building his own car. Henry was a perfectionist, and having found construction errors in the Deauville, he swore to do better. By the end of 1903, he developed and built his first petrol engine, and by the following year, he made his first Royce 10 horsepower motor car and drove it to town. 2 decades had gone by since Henry set up the company, and his first car was a sensation. And so he set out to make more. Henry built 3 cars. He gave one to his business partner, Ernest Claremont, and the other he sold to one of their shareholders, Henry Edmunds. Edmunds was a shareholder in Royce's business and is a friend of Rolls. After purchasing one of Royce's cars, he began bragging to Rolls about it, and it was Henry Edmunds himself who organized a meeting between Rolls and Royce. Little did Edmunds know that this would change the future of motoring drastically. While Rolls had favored 3 and 4 cylinder cars, Royce's 2-cylinder vehicle made a big impression on him. Within minutes of witnessing it, he knew he had found what he was looking for. He took the motor vehicle for a drive and agreed on the spot to sell as many motor cars as Royce could produce. Rolls and Royce was definitely an unusual duo. There was not only a big age gap but also a class gap in education. Royce was 41 years old while Rolls was only 26. The young Rolls had an education at the prestigious Trinity College, whereas Royce's skills were mostly self-taught. Rolls had spent his young adult years sprinting around his fancy cars, and Royce had been working non-stop to make ends meet. Henry Royce and Charles Rolls were 2 very different people, but they also made an outstanding duo. The success of the cars led to the creation of the Rolls-Royce Company in 1906. The 6-cylinder vehicle was then introduced, Black Ghost. Within a year, it received praise as the world's greatest automobile. The company's managing director, Claude Johnson, knew it was essential to grow the company's reputation, so he staged a series of stunts to promote the quietness and reliability of Rolls-Royce motor cars. Claude was so crucial to the company's success that he became known as the hyphen in Rolls-Royce. Marketing alone will get you only so far. Both Henry and Charles committed themselves to providing the finest quality possible. In 1910, Charles was the first person to make a non-stop double flight across the English Channel. After a month during a flying display at Bournemouth, Charles was unfortunately killed in an air crash. He was 32 years old and he became the first Briton to die in a plane crash. His death meant the end of the Rolls-Royce partnership. Henry would now have to resume their legacy on his own. Henry established Rolls-Royce's reputation for superior engineering and quality. He came up with the best design with both the finest materials and the highest levels of craftsmanship there is. Rolls-Royce has remained a famous name in engineering. It is one of the most luxurious cars with over 130 dealerships in over 40 countries. Since the creation of Rolls-Royce, several CEOs have taken over, but it's the vision of Henry Royce and Charles Rolls that made Rolls-Royce what it is today, a symbol of pure and refined passion and wealth. Strive for perfection in everything you do. Take the best that exists and make it better. When it does not exist, design it. Henry Royce.